Hi everyone, and welcome back to week 2 of Flipping Learning with Adobe. And I hope you were able to access last week's session. The recording of last week's session is actually on the website, and the website that you need, or actually, if you just remember this link, Storytelling Part 3 is actually up on the site as well. So to get to the storytelling one, let me just get. Oh, you got me. I'm going to pop. There it is. Got it. Excellent. So if you pop to this website, Kim, it will take you to Part 3 as well. So that will get you all 3 parts of the digital storytelling. The first part of the flipping learning you'll find from that link I've just given you. And today we're going to be looking at, so last week we had a semi-eventful with my Windows not working in Presenter, and you'll be happy to know that the Windows Presenter development team and I have been chatting lots. It does seem to be a little, perhaps a little glitch that we're working through at the moment. So thanks for bearing with that. You can also searching. So I just wanted to remind you, framing that about flipping learning, that remember it's not all about, just going back to the fact that it's not all about the creation of tutorials. What it's actually about is freeing up time in class for deeper collaborative activities, for understanding what your students know before they come into your classroom, so you can differentiate a little bit. And so you can work through. So remember, these are our 5 questions or 4 questions that you need to frame. Where are you going to bring all these resources together? How are you going to curate them and get them to students? Are you going to use a Moodle slash a SharePoint slash a Weebly slash Smore? What are you going to use to bring that together? Can I suggest a wonderful little thing called lucapub.com? That might give you a nice idea for bringing some content together as well. Are you going to use pre-created content, or are you going to use your own? There is a lot of stuff out there. We'll quickly remind you of those before you head out. Or are you going to create your own? If you're going to create your own, what tools are you using? And we're looking at Presenter and Captivate for that. How will you ensure that students have completed work before returning to class for the deeper questions? What learning analytics? Just because you send home a link for students to watch, how do you know they're actually going to watch that? How do you know you're going to engage them to get that content through to them? So have a bit of a think about that. And that's where the learning analytic comes to play. And Presenter is a great tool for that. That's on next week. And what are you going to do to ensure deeper questioning and knowledge construction within your classroom? So what sort of activities are you going to do in your classroom to make sure that they're higher order and not just repeating what they've done through the video? So that's the main questions. Remember, we spoke at the different ways you can deliver your content. We went through those. Remember that it's sophia.org, I think it was, Kim, that you mentioned in that last one. So you've got the Blend Space, the Weebly, the Office 365 sites, Edmodo, Scoodle, CK12 is a great place, TED-Ed in a way, Sophia, the Mentor Mob, whatever you've got at your hands, why not use it, hey? That's sophia.com, sophia.org. Remember, this is where we can find content. ABC Splash has got some amazing. I saw yesterday they just won a big award, which is really cool for the content they've been doing. Scootle, in a way, can do this for you if you're looking for pre-created. And Schmoop is great for those high school teachers out there looking for some English and different content. So what we're going to do now then is run through Presenter and just some of the little interactive bits we can do. So I'm just going to share my screen. Let's do the whole fingers crossed thing again here, guys. And here, and straight up, just a reminder, we're all looking good by the sounds of that. This is the Google Doc that I've created with all the content that you need. Remember, this is the bit.ly link, and all the session recordings are at this Adobe Education Exchange. So you can pop there to find session 1. Some information there about the theory behind flipping. Don't forget that awesome book by John John Bergman, and then some links from last week and this week. So that's the base. So what we're going to be doing, I'm just going to head into, a new Windows 8 app. OneNote. Okay, we're going to first of all head into Presenter. And in Presenter, remember, we find it via the tab across the top. Much of what I'm showing today is available in Presenter 9, which is something that you would have if you're a New South Wales Department of Education school. I do believe that's there for you to install through T4L, and may even be on the T4L image. And what I'm going to do here, remember last week we used the record button to record audio over slides, and when you publish that, the audio sticks to the slides. You can record a tutorial, which is really cool. That's the one that I had a little bit of issues editing. Remember, when you're editing, it's green for the screen, yellow for me, and blue for both. Then the record is a screen capture recording, which will record your screen, anything on your screen that you have open at that point in time. So what I want to do now is just quickly show you where you can find some of the interactive components of this course. And okay, so big e-learning companies will use Presenter to create kind of really cool stuff. And there's almost some pre-formatted bits to Presenter, which you can see here. Yes, go away. We're just so you can see here that there's some already pre-formatted kind of, I guess they're sort of like smart art, but they've got a bit of a movement to them. And then today we're going to be looking at this hangman and also jigsaw puzzle. Thank you very much. And we're going to click on the interaction again. And you can see there's some bigger interaction bits in here. You can also, this is really freaky, there's some, this is sort of like corporate e-learning, and you might even find a use for this, I guess, within education. But you can click and pop one of these people on your screen to use as part of your tutorial creation. I'm not a great fan of him, to be honest, but you do have options there. There's also, I'm just going to pop a new slide here. Here, click home, add a new slide. Excellent. Back to Presenter. So if I wanted to add a scene, I can add, see this one here, they're only black and white at the moment, but when you pop them in there, when you render it, it comes up as a proper image. And then you can pop in here and add a character. Let's add Asher in there. Actually, no, there's a pic of Asher. Cool. Asher. Asher working. Her phone again. We'll just do this. We'll pop Asher if she's having a conversation. Someone. Ooh, look, it's a mini Asher. Sorry. And then you can make that part of your tutorial if you like. I think that's a bit corporate-y, to be honest, and not so edu focused, but it might work for some of those that are using secondary spaces. So that's within this some of this character and scene stuff. Where we're going to head now is to add a quiz. I don't know why my head works better if I add a new slide before I do all this stuff. You don't really need to, but I'm going to. So I'm going to add a quiz. And at this point, you can see here that it says, what's the name of your question? So I'm going to put this as question 4. And you have the options of that they must take this quiz to continue, they need to pass this quiz, and they need to answer all of the questions. So you've got a couple of choices there. And you can do things like shuffle questions, shuffle answers. Let's hit OK. So now I'm going to add a question, and we're going to head off and have a look at a tutorial about this in a second. You can see some of the questions that we can ask here, and I know the text is small for you, so apologies there. But we can ask a multiple choice question, we can ask a true and false question, we can fill in the blank, we can ask a short answer, we can ask a matching question, a rating scale, a sequence, or a hotspot, or a drag and drop. So all of those are totally part of what you want to do. If there's a question, I'll come back to it in a minute. And you can add those there. So we just going to create a regular. So we're going to see all sorts of ways we can do that, but no, it's in this add quiz component. Now, what I would be doing if I was adding questions to my tutorials, I would do the record audio over the PowerPoint and then add the quiz bits after that. And then what we do afterwards is we package it or we publish it, and then we can publish it up to, like I mentioned yesterday, the Adobe Learning Dashboard, which we'll be focusing on next week. And you can see how you can then tap in and see what answers students have given and for how much knowledge they're actually coming back to your class with. So I'm just going to stop sharing screen for a second. Head back into the room. All right, excellent. So we are going to head to a next bit there. What I want to show you now is one of my favorite e-learning people in Adobe, and she's wonderful at creating resources. So I figured we're just going to watch a couple by her and see. Her name's Poojai Singh, and she's from the dev team in Singapore and does wonderful things. So let's just watch her. I just need to say that this is presenter 8 onwards, so even though we're in 10, you can use this in 8. Apologies for the siren in the background.
We've added a couple of new interactions in our update for Presenter 8, exclusively available for ASA and subscription customers. And one of those interactions is a jigsaw puzzle. Let me show you how you can easily add a jigsaw puzzle to your courses. So you go to the Presenter ribbon and here click on Interaction. You'll get all these interactions that were previously available, and the new ones added are these two hangman interactions and the jigsaw puzzle. Just select jigsaw puzzle to add it, and here you get the small form that you need to fill out, and you will be all set with a jigsaw puzzle added to your course. So I'll just add a name here. I will just say jigsaw puzzle. And then I have to go and upload a picture. I'll click browse and select the image. This gives the image over here on the right side. I can select whether I want the puzzle to be a 300 by 300 or a 400 by 400 size. Let's go for a 400 by 400. You can also select whether you want 4 pieces, 9 pieces, or 16 pieces of your puzzle. Let's go for the 16 pieces. You can set the timer as well. So if you want them to finish the game in 1 minute 59 seconds, which is the default time here, you can do that. Or if you think that it's a little difficult, you can give more time. If you feel it's easier, go ahead and reduce the time as you like it. Then you can also assign some score here, and you can customize the success and the timeout text for this interaction. Once you're done with all these changes, just click OK, and the interaction is added to your course. Let's see how it looks like in the finished product. So I'm just previewing this. Let me just increase the size so that you can get a better view. And here you get a chance to create the jigsaw puzzle. Let me just quickly do it before the time is up. So I'm doing this, and this will go here, and this will go here. This should go here. Oops, I think there's one more over here, so I will add this. Yes, and this will come here. For that, let me just put this here. This is part of the globe. This is again part of the globe, and here. I have to do this before the time is up. Okay, this is done, and I'm almost there. So you can see that now that the jigsaw puzzle is complete, I am able to get the final picture and it looks nice. I hope you like this interaction and you would love to use this for your
So that was available through through the interactive component. Who's got some ideas on how they might be able to use that within their classroom? Any ideas? Anyone? Please share. So I think imagine if you do have students watching content at home and to break it up and do those sort of low level. I mean, I wouldn't like to spend too much time in the class doing that, but I think it is a great way to get that understanding of facts and some of that remembering level happening. So the next thing we're going to watch is an activity on creating drag and drops. I think these drag and drops are very, very, very cool. So let's watch Pooja again and see what she shows
Adding
us.
a drag and drop question in Adobe Presenter 9 is super easy. Let me show you the workflow quickly. So here, when you install Adobe Presenter, it appears as a ribbon item. Just click on it and it allows you to add questions like multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank, short answers, and hotspot. But now with Adobe Presenter 9, you can add a drag and drop question as well. Just select drag and drop from this list and it gives you this super simple interface to add a drag and drop question. With this, you can create an image to image type of an interaction, text to text, or text to image type of an interaction, or vice versa. So let's try and create an image type of interaction. So I'm creating a interaction where I want to categorize the vegetables and fruits. So I will choose one of the vegetables, and for the drop, I will use this section which I've created for veggies. Now let's add a few more images here, and notice that you have an option to select the same image. This will allow you to create a many to one type of an interaction. Let's choose some fruits as well here, and for fruits I have another section which I can add, and quickly let's add one more fruit type here, and I will choose the second type. Once this is done, you have some other options that you can choose from. You can add a background image here, return to start if dropped outside, or reveal drag one at a time. So you can do that, and you can have the snapping behavior as well. Here I want it to be tile, so I'll select tile, and then I get an opportunity to arrange my stage. So I can easily go ahead and place these draggables wherever I want. Once that's done, I can click OK, and my drag and drop interaction will be added to my code. So here's the preview. Let's go to the next slide, and you can see that now I have chosen that only one draggable should appear at a time. So only one has appeared, and as soon as I place it here, it snaps to the drop target. Let's place the potatoes also here, and here are the bananas, and here are the grapes. And once I'm done with that, I'll click submit, and it gives me a feedback that this question is correct. You can report the scores from these questions to the leading LMSs, and now it also comes with the tin can compliance. So go ahead and create stunning drag and drop questions for your e-learning courses. Thanks for watching this tutorial. Adding a drag and drop Adobe Presenter 9 is super easy. Let me show you the workflow quickly. So here, when you install Adobe Presenter, it appears as adding a drag and
Thank you. Nobody press play, okay? Nobody press play. So I think that's a really cool way that we can extend the learning, break it up, make activities and relevant across all age groups. So yes, you can definitely turn your cut and paste activities. You can do categorization. You can do, I think for me, I can do different grammar points for languages. We can do all sorts of things. So I think that's cool. As long as you need to have these things already in an image format, and I would suggest saving them as a .png, because then if there's any transparent points to your images, they're going to stay transparent. So the back end of getting everything ready for this kind of stuff is really important. Yeah, that's cool, Simon. That's exactly right. Okay, the next thing we're going to watch is a hangman game. We all love a good hangman game, right? I can't really justify doing it in my classroom because I do think sometimes it is a Friday afternoon activity, shall we say. But incorporating it into that work at home, that coming with the base knowledge, and remember we do get to the back end interactive for this kind of stuff as well. So let's just have a watch how we can make a hangman activity.
In the new update for Adobe Presenter 8, exclusively available for our subscription and ASA customers, we have added 3 new interactions. 2 of them are hangman type activities. Let me show you how you can add these interactions in your courses. Just go to the Presenter ribbon and click Interactions. That opens the Insert Interaction panel for you. Here you will find Hangman, Monkey and Mango, Hangman, Parrot and Cage. Let's see how we can add the monkey and the mango interaction in our course. Very easy to do that. Just add the categories and the words that you want the learners to guess. So let me just add some colors here. So colors is my category, and for answer I'll add blue, yellow, orange, red, green. So these are my words, and I can add more categories. So here maybe I can add animals. So here I can say cat, dog, tiger, elephant, and so on. So I can define the words here, and I can go up to 5 categories here. So when you have to add categories, just click plus sign and keep clicking plus sign till you reach the 5th category. So you can add up to 5 categories. And if you want to delete some categories, just click the minus sign on top of that category. If you have a lot of words here and you want to randomly select a number of options to be presented to your learners, just select the number here and the learners will be asked to answer only those many questions. So I can maybe say 2 here, and when I'm done, the interaction is added to the course. Let's preview this and see how it works. So I will just preview current slide. So you can see that the interaction appears here, and I had added 2 categories. So the learner is allowed to choose which category to select. So I will just select color and I'll click start here. Let me just increase its size so that you can see it clearly. Okay, so now it's colors and I have to guess the color here. So let me just give a wrong option. And it says no. Oh my god. And okay, I think this is blue, but still I will give a couple of wrong options. And let's see. And now ultimately let me guess the right answer. Okay, great. So once this interaction is over, the monkey is able to reach the mango. So you can see that this is really easy to create. You can also add the other interaction. So let me just show you how the other interaction looks like. So here's my parrot and cage. Let me just quickly add one category here, and this will be blue, red, purple. Okay, and I will hit OK here. So I get this interaction. Let me just preview the slide. Increase the size. So I have this preview, and here I just have one category. So I'll just select it and go there. And here now I have to guess the color. So if I keep getting it wrong, the cage builds in. So you can see that.
That's not correct. No, that's not right. Oh no!
And I think it's red, so I will just go and say red. So here you get this interaction, and it's pretty fun to work with. Your students will really love this interaction in between your course slides. So go ahead and give it a try. Thanks for watching this video.
So what I love about those is perhaps students could be creating those themselves. So if students are using an image device, or they have access to install Presenter, which I do believe they do through the student installation agreement, then they could be creating and sharing their different jigsaws or hangman or drag and drops or whatever. I think is a really cool tool. So that is, I guess I was just showing you, we had a look at some of the different, we can do our usual multiple choices, short answers, we can do drag and drop answers, we can put things in order. So just say, Simon, your students are studying different cooking techniques, you can actually get them to order things in the correct order from a jumbled order. And you can get the feedback from those later on. So that's how Presenter can be used, really powerful. Next, we're going to move on then to Captivate. And just to get started, once again with this, I'm going to show you, so just quickly run through the basics on Captivate again. So I'm just going to close that window down. Not close that, because as you can see, I've got a green interwebs happening. And this is Captivate 8, and remember we had a look at this last week, and it is quite different to the other versions of Captivate, but I actually like it because I think it's much, much easier to use now. I'm just going to create a new blank project for this. I could import in a PowerPoint and then add interactive bits to it as well. That's easily done, but I need to choose my theme because I'm allergic to boring things. So I think I'm going to choose this one today. Don't ask me again. And that's just going to apply that. And while that's applying, if you have a look along the top up here, you can see that if I wanted to add an interaction, no, let's add a quiz in here. Just going to click on quiz. I'm going to click on a question slide, and you'll see that I have options in here of a multiple choice. Why don't I just tick them to get going? A true and false, a fill in the blank, a short answer, a matching, a hotspot. Oh yeah, there's hotspots in Presenter as well. A rating scale and a random question. Okay, all of them. I don't mind. Oh yeah, the drop down on the side, there's the graded bit. Oh, we're going to have to pull another one out. Let's just do that quickly so I can show you. Question slide. Okay, so if I click here, see this drop down, there's graded, survey, and pre-test. The graded basically means that they have to get, it's more sort of like the most formal sort of quiz you can do. So you can set it that they have to get 8 out of 10 to pass. Same with Presenter. Or they have to get 100% to be able to pass. So it's allowing you to set in the questions into here. The survey is more sort of a general question. And then the pre-test is helping you to see where they're up to. They get a bit of a point around what they're doing. Okay. So just going to close that down now. So in Captivate, the point here is merely just typing in the question. And this is a true question because really I've got no idea what day it is today. I'm going on holidays next week, so I'm a little bit that way inclined. So then we can type in Tuesday. And students then, when you package this, because remember when we're done, we can package this and then the answer comes back. So then we move on. So I just wanted to give you, oh yeah, the other thing we can do here is in this interactions area. Let me just pop in a new slide, I'm going to duck in there a new content slide, and I'm going to head into this interactions area. And you can see I can choose the drag and drop activity. Thank you very much. And I've got to put the bits there first. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen because what we're going to do, similar to the last section, is we're going to have a look at the bestest dude in the universe, Mr. Alan Partridge, who's going to show us, I think it is important that while we can do well, we can just quickly construct those things and record a session or a screencast or a simulation. It is important to know how to construct Captivate activities from the beginning. And Alan is a professor of e-learning, and I consulted him with this course, and he's given us some content we can use. So I figured it's the best way, considering that it's like 1 a.m. in the morning where he is, this is the best way to do that. So let's have a watch on how you can create Captivate from scratch for learning in your classroom.
This is the first of 4 short videos designed to show you how to use Adobe Captivate. Let's get started. When you first launch Adobe Captivate, you'll see this screen. You'll notice that there are several different types of projects that you can create. We'll learn more about the others later, but for now, let's create a responsive project. To do so, double-click on Responsive Project. Here you can see that Captivate has created a new blank responsive project for you. Captivate uses themes similar to Microsoft PowerPoint. You can change those themes by going to the Theme menu and then choose from any of the themes that are provided for you. In this case, let's start with the Clouds theme. I'll click on Clouds, and Captivate will notify me that the Cloud theme will override the theme that's already being used. In this case, a blank theme. Go ahead and click Yes to accept that override. Any object in Captivate can be modified using the properties of that object. To find the properties, simply go to the upper right-hand corner and click on the Properties panel. You can also double-click on an item to open the properties of that particular item. When you have no item selected, that's the same as selecting the slide itself. And you'll notice here that the master slide allows you to change the layout or the look and feel of the individual slide object. We could, for example, have to content slide, or we could have caption and content right slide. Any of those layouts are fine. In our case, let's go ahead and choose the introduction slide. You may find that your computer display is not as large as mine, or is larger. If you'd like to change the size of the viewing area, simply go to this menu at the top. This view menu will allow you to shrink down the display size of the work area, or choose the best size for your particular display. Now that we have our introduction slide, let's go ahead and double-click here to add the title. I'm going to make the title Explore the Water Cycle. With this project, you will have received a resources folder. Open that resources folder now and find a file called definitions.txt. Inside the definitions file, you'll find text that you can use throughout the project as you work. Select the first paragraph, copy it using Control-C on a PC or Command-C on a Macintosh. Then come back inside your text area. Double-click here in order to select that text. Now Control-V on a PC or Command-V on a Macintosh will paste this text into your project. We won't need this last caption text. Select that text item with a single click. Now press the Delete key to delete that component. Note that Captivate will ask you if you're sure you want to delete it. Say OK, and the item will go away. Now we have our text, but I see a couple of problems. The first is I'd like to see all of the text and it's being cut off. A single click on a text item will allow me to make adjustments to that text item. I can click and drag on these boxes in order to move and expand the text window. I can also click and drag on the text element itself to move the text to a new location on the screen. I can set the size of the text over here by adjusting the size here, but 31 looks about right. Now in this case, I'd actually like to make an adjustment to the line spacing so there's a little more padding between those lines. To do so, I'll click here on spacing and then change that value from 1 to 1.3. Notice how a little more space appears between the lines. You can also drag again to make sure that you've exposed all of the text that you wanted to. Now, it's possible that you might run into a problem here. Remember, selecting the text twice, double-clicking, selects the text for editing. That makes it possible for you to make adjustments like making a word bold or italics, or changing the text inside the area. But it only selects the currently selected word or text. If you want to select all of that text area, click once, and then changes that you make will apply to everything in that text area. Now it's time to save this project. To save a project, simply choose the Save icon at the top, click Save, and then we'll save this project inside of our current projects folder. I put mine on my desktop, and it's called Captivate Demo Project Resources. I'm going to save this as Water Cycle Step 1. Now let's check your progress. Does your screen look like my screen? You should have one slide in the thumbnail view on the left-hand side. You should have a property inspector on the right-hand side. Your property inspector might display the slide properties if you have the slide selected, or it might display the properties of some particular item if you have that item selected. Remember, whatever you have selected is what will display in the property inspector at any given moment. Now, because this project is a responsive project, you'll be able to publish this project and your students can view it on any desktop or laptop computer. They'll also be able to view it on their mobile phones or on their tablet devices. Before we do this, I want you to go back to that top menu, the View menu, and make sure that you're in View 100% mode. That way you'll be able to see these icons along the top. If your display size is very small and you're not able to see primary, tablet, and mobile along the top, then I want you to go back in and actually shrink your view until you're able to see all three of these icons along the top. Now these icons represent the various views on various devices, and Captivate will do its best to figure out what it should look like on each of those views. You can see here the primary view is the one we've been working on. Click on Tablet to see how the project will look on the tablet view. There you can see the tablet view, and it looks pretty good all by itself. Let's go on to the mobile view. There's the mobile view. Now something's wrong with the mobile view. You can see that the text field is not big enough in the mobile view. Go ahead and change that in the mobile view just by stretching it until it's the size you want. That's it for step 1 in your first Adobe Captivate project.
So what Alan showed us there was how to start creating a Captivate from scratch. And what I think is the best thing about that is at the end he showed you how to look at a regular computer screen, or a tablet, or a mobile phone, and to make sure that your students can have a good experience no matter what they're watching it on. I think that's something we've not been able to do with education before. We've always relied on what other people have given us and not been able to tinker ourselves. So when you do publish Captivate, then you will publish it in HTML5, and I know for Kim Mahaley that's a wonderful thing because that means it's going to work on anything. All right, let's see the next bit for what Alan's going to teach us tonight.
Welcome back. This is the second of 4 very short videos designed to help teachers learn to use Adobe Captivate. Let's get started. As you remember, the last slide that we worked on is this one, Explore the Water Cycle. I want to make one more change to that slide before we move on. Over here on the right-hand side, I have the slide selected. So to select the whole slide, I can either click on the thumbnail view, or I can come over here and just click anywhere in the gray zone, and that'll select the slide. With the slide selected, I'll choose the Actions tab. You might be on the Style tab right now. Be sure and click the Actions tab. Then move to the On Exit action. What that is that's the moment when the slide is about to move from here to whatever comes next. So to do that effectively, we want to actually make sure that we pause and wait for some kind of user interaction. So you see I click the drop down menu there, and then I click pause just like that. And this will cause the slide to pause. Otherwise it would just keep running like a slideshow. All right, our next task is to create a new slide. Over here on the left-hand side, go to the top, choose the slide plus button. That's the big plus there. And we want a new content slide. That's a slide that has any kind of special layout. Click on content slide. You'll see here that we've got a blank slide that conforms to the cloud layout. Moving over here to the right-hand side, notice the master slide is currently set to blank. We're going to click that to open it up. We want to go all the way down and find one called Process. You'll see a little scroll down here at the bottom. Notice there are more than one process, but we want this one, the circular process, the one that's labeled just Process. Click it, and that automatically changes the layout of this slide to be the process layout. So anytime you want to change a different layout, just remember to go to that master slide, click it, and you'll find different layouts there. Now, what we want to do is set up the water cycle here. So I'm going to click on Image and then Import, and you'll see I'm inside my Captivate Demo Project Resources folder, and inside the project images, I know that the top image is the cloud condensation, so I'll choose that one and choose Open. Click these plus icons all the way around and just import each of the images. Precipitation goes next. Down here at the bottom, import, and this is the transpiration one. I'll note also that you'll notice that these are PNG files, and that allows them to have transparent backgrounds. A PNG file will allow you to have transparent backgrounds, and so it's good to remember that if you want something that's irregularly shaped, you can use a PNG file. If you didn't want the irregularly shaped piece, you could use instead a JPEG file, and that JPEG file would have the same content, but it wouldn't have a transparent background. Here we go with our evaporation, and now we've got our complete cloud cycle all the way around. Now you'll notice that the placeholder also gave us a place to put in the caption text. So you can type the caption text in and type the title slide on the text. And remember, there's one more step. We want to make sure that the navigation happens from a play bar or some other device. So we don't want to automatically advance. So remember now to choose the whole slide. You can do that by clicking over here on the thumbnail or click in the gray space. Go over here to the Actions panel and then choose on exit. We want to pause. All right, why don't you go ahead and type in those captions, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, so we've had a look on how we can bring images in, and I've just popped two little links into there for two sites that I like to use for images. I'm a little bit over clipart, but using icons from either the Noun project or Icon Archive is a great way, as well as using real images. And I like to use a site called PhotoPin for images that are Creative Commons usable. And also creativemarket.com is a great place to go to find stuff. Thanks for sharing that. Where do you guys get your images from? Alrighty, so next he's going to show us how to add buttons and interactive bits to our Captivate slides.
Welcome back to part 3 in a 4-part series designed to quickly help educators learn how to use Adobe Captivate. Let's get started. So as you remember, in our project last time, we had imported all of the images and added them to our process layout on the second slide. And I suggested you go ahead and put these captions in. You can see examples of the captions here, and of course there's an example of the entire project inside your project folder. Now the next thing for us to do is actually to break it down and create a detailed slide that describes each element in the overall process. So to do that, you're going to want to go up here to the upper left-hand corner and click again on the plus symbol for new slides. Click on Content Slide to add a new content slide. You'll notice that the content slide comes in with the layout that you last selected. That's the layout for the process, but we don't want a process for the informational slides. We actually want to use a different one. So instead, let's use Caption and Content Right, choosing them from the master slide. Remember, you have to select the entire slide. Do that by clicking on the slide in the thumbnail and come over to the right-hand side and choose Caption and Content Right. If you want to just be different, you could also choose Caption and Content Left. It's really up to you. There are a number of different slide layouts that you can choose to work from. Now, once you have that content in, we're going to want to actually add the content. But before we do that, let's customize this slide so it's ready for interactivity. Now remember that step where we go to the Actions panel while the whole slide is selected. If your whole slide isn't selected, you won't see this panel, right? So remember, click the slide itself in the thumbnail, make it all selected, choose the Actions panel, and then finally on Exit, let's choose the Pause. That will pause the slide so it doesn't just keep going. Now we actually want 3 more of this kind of slide, so we can have one for each phase of the water cycle. With the slide selected, I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to use Control C on my PC or Command C on my Macintosh, and that's a shortcut to copy the slide. I could also right-click on the slide and choose Copy from that menu as well. Once I have that, I'm just going to paste more copies. Now it's important to note that I did that on exit function before I made my copies. To paste, I can simply do Control V on a PC or Command V on a Macintosh. And you'll notice I've actually pasted the slide 3 more times. So now I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Notice also that the action to pause on exit has been copied along with the rest of the content on the slide. Now, as you start working on projects, you're going to find that it's helpful to name the project. So the slides for each project have names that appear on the right-hand corner, the upper right-hand corner of the property inspector. I've selected the first slide, and here I would put something like intro or introduction to identify that this is the introductory slide. The second slide describes the entire process, so here I would put process to explain that that is the process slide. The third slide obviously is going to be about condensation, precipitation, transpiration, or evaporation, in whichever order you wish to present those particular slides. So you want to name each one of those appropriately. Here I'll name these condensation, and so on. Now, in the slide itself, you're going to want to also put the name of the slide content. So you can simply put it in here. Or if you prefer to cut and paste, you can also go into that handy little notepad of definitions. So you'll see here you've got the definitions. Here's condensation. Copy that. Control C on a PC or Command C on a Macintosh. Then I'll come over here and grab that definition. Again, Control C or Command C, depending on your platform. And Control V or Command V to paste that content. So I repeat that process for each one of those slides, and then when I'm ready to add the corresponding image, I'll just check to make sure I have the right image. The image is the cloud, so I click here, and then I'm going to click plus image. But this time I'll do something slightly different. Now remember before we imported the image, but we've already got the condensation image imported. All we have to do is click on it here in our library and bring it across. That's because Captivate will give you all of that content inside of this folder called the library, and it'll keep that all on hand, so you don't have to keep re-importing it. But notice that this image has stretched to fill the entire area defined by that image placeholder. And in this case, we don't want that image to be quite so large. So to fix that problem, we're actually going to click on the Properties Inspector and then select the image and then choose Reset to Original Size. And that will reset this image to its original size. Now just hold down the Shift key and click and drag this corner arrow to resize that image so that it's both the right height and width ratio. and the right size for that particular slide. So now you've got a nice condensation image, you've got a condensation caption, you've got condensation as your subtitle to the slide. You might decide that you want to have the water cycle up here throughout, or you might want to list that as condensation. It's really up to you. Repeat that process for each one of the remaining slides for each of the categories.
So now we've learned, I know this is a little bit of a slower process, but it's important that you know that you can construct the slides within Captivate as well as bring your content in, and understanding how the back end of the flow is, back end of the files and stuff flow is an area where people often get stuck on, and I don't want you guys to get stuck, so we're spending a little bit of time with that. What we're going to be doing next week with Captivate, just got one last session to show, is we're going to be heading, actually no, maybe we won't, might start with that next time. What we're going to be doing with Captivate next time is moving into, so once you've got done your basic slides, you might like to add some quizzes or a memory game or a drag and drop component or a responsive quiz or anything like that. So we're going to be working through those on Captivate before we learn how to publish it at the end. With Presenter, we're going to be looking at how to host your or publish your presenter file with your questions and bibs and bobs and all sorts of stuffs in, host it up into the Adobe dashboard, and how you can tap into the analytics to see how your students have responded to your questions. So that's sort of, I guess, where we're up to today. Just as a reminder, like you to, as you're planning for flipped learning, just have a bit of a think about those larger questions that we discussed with flipped learning. Have a read of the pros and cons again, and these are available through that document that you can access at this bit.ly link here that I'm just handing over here. And just have a little bit of a think about how you're planning for flipping learning in your classroom next year, or in 2015 if you're not an Australian. We are going to end about 5 minutes early, if nothing else. So if you guys would be able to, hang on, don't do anything yet. Don't do anything yet. I've got to clear the results. There we go. You can do the left-hand one, and you can do that one. Sorry, guys. If you could please give a little bit of feedback, that would be very, very good and would allow me to understand how we're going. So that's where we're at. We've had a look at what flipping learning is. We've looked at how we can create very simple screencasts or voiceover for PowerPoints, if you like. Today we've looked at how we can add interactive components to those tutorials, and then next week we look at how we can publish them, and then how we can tap into some of the powerful analytics behind them. So I hope that's given you a little bit of an idea of where to go to, and I hope I will see you back here next week for part 3. The recording will be, of course, available. You'll see the link via that link I just gave you, and I hope to be home to be able to download it and then re-upload it into YouTube later in the week. So have a great week, everyone, and I will see you next week for the last one in this series. Thank you. Take care.